Have you ever wanted a better life but kept waiting for the right moment to begin? Have you ever believed that wanting something deeply was almost the same as working for it? Many people carry big dreams quietly inside them, hoping that time alone will make those dreams real. This is a gentle reminder that desire is powerful, but action is what gives it life. Before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Kira lived on a small farm at the edge of a peaceful countryside where the land stretched wide and the days moved slowly. She was young, thoughtful, and full of hope for what her life could become. Each morning, she looked out over her fields and imagined tall crops swaying in the breeze, her work finally paying off. She believed strongly in her future. She believed that one day things would simply fall into place. When the sun rose early and the air was cool, Kira often stayed seated by her door, holding seeds in her palm. She told herself she was planning. She told herself she was waiting for the right feeling, the right energy, the right day. The soil would still be there tomorrow. The work could wait. Around her, life continued. Other farmers passed along the dirt paths with quiet steps. They worked without speaking much, bending to the earth day after day. Kira watched them with admiration, but also with comfort. She wanted success too, she reminded herself, and surely that counted for something. When neighbors asked about her land, Kira smiled easily and spoke of her future harvest. Her words were confident, even proud. Inside, she felt certain that her intentions were enough to guide her forward. As the seasons shifted, the land began to change. Rain softened the ground and the air grew warmer. But Kira's land remained untouched. Weeds crept in slowly, claiming the empty soil. She noticed them but turned away, promising herself she would begin soon. One quiet afternoon, an older farmer named Mara paused near Kira's land. Her hands were worn, her back bent by years of work, yet her fields nearby were always full of life. She looked across Kira's land and spoke gently, saying the soil was good. Kira smiled and spoke of her plans. Mara nodded calmly and reminded her that the soil is patient, but it does not answer to words. Kira laughed softly, not fully understanding, and returned to her thoughts as Mara walked on. When planting time came, Kira moved quickly and carelessly. She scattered seeds without preparing the ground. She watered when she remembered. She believed her hope alone would guide them. Days passed, then weeks, and nothing grew. Nearby fields turned green and alive, while Kira's land stayed silent and bare. At night, she lay awake listening to the wind, her confidence slowly giving way to doubt. She told herself the season was unfair and the weather unkind, but deep inside, a quiet truth began to form. At harvest time, the village gathered to share food and laughter. Kira stood among them with empty hands. Her chest felt heavy as she watched others carry the reward of their steady work. Mara approached her once more and knelt, lifting a handful of dry earth. She spoke softly and said that seeds do not grow on intentions, they grow on care. Those words stayed with Kira through the long winter that followed. When spring returned, something in Kira had changed. She rose earlier. She stepped into her fields even when she felt tired. She cleared weeds one by one, turned the soil slowly, and rested only when needed. There were no grand promises this time, only quiet effort. Some days felt heavy. Old habits whispered that dreaming was easier than doing. But Kira continued even when no one was watching. She planted her seeds carefully. She watered them morning and evening. She protected the young shoots with patient hands. She learned to adjust, to accept mistakes, and to keep going. Slowly, green tips appeared. Not all survived, but some did. By harvest time, her baskets were modest, yet full enough to hold. As Kira stood in her field, she felt something deeper than pride. She felt respect for the land, for time, and for the work she once avoided. Mara passed by and nodded, saying nothing. From that day forward, Kira still dreamed, but she no longer waited for dreams to work in her place. She understood now that effort was the language the world listened to. Little by little, her life began to grow. So, if you are waiting for the perfect moment to begin, remember this: intentions plant nothing, but steady effort, even when quiet, can change everything. What lesson did this story remind you of? Share it in the comments below.